It is a weirdly warm October evening. Heather and I are out here with a reporter from the Canton Repository doing a story on the property and small town monsters, I guess. We're actually at the location where I saw what I saw, which now that I'm looking at it, that flat ridge, I just realized that's where it was. Where my sighting happened is right there, that flat path. That is it. That is the spot. Okay, that's almost halfway exactly up the hill. So this will be my first time getting to walk up there. I didn't have, like, it was broad daylight, and I can recount things like the musculature and all that, but I'm still like, did I see a deer? Did I see like the back of a deer? The color isn't right for a deer.
And it was upright?
It was like watching a sprinter. It was like watching an Olympic runner. And that's what was so weird is when I first saw it, I was like, there's no way. I didn't catch it long enough to know, but to me, it didn't seem abnormal. I feel like if it was like 8 feet tall and I saw that, I would know that's abnormally tall. Yeah, I thought maybe it's maybe a younger, which would also explain what the heck it's doing running across a clear cut in broad daylight when someone's moving through here.
You mean where we're standing was not cleared previously?
This was
when you were talking about old thicket.
This was all thicket the whole way up. That's why I couldn't get up here. All right, so we're up in the exact spot where my sighting happened, and it is a road, which is pretty wild because we couldn't tell because everything was so overgrown, and Heather didn't even know this was here. That's the gator over there. So we would have been driving there, and what I saw would have been booking it down this road. I'm almost wondering if the distance I saw it was smaller than I thought. Like maybe this was all kind of, if you look, there's like thorn bushes and stuff. I'm almost wondering if that thing if I didn't just catch it the final couple steps right here. Maybe it cleared and went into the woods right about here. This is where this thing would have gone in. So Heather and I and Ed all caught a strange smell a second ago too. That was kind of weird. It smelled like a dead animal. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to come back here tomorrow and I can see it a little better. So right now I can't see much. You work for the Canton Repository, and I was familiar with your work before I knew you. And now we've done multiple stories together. I kind of consider you a friend. I hope that's not weird. But so the first thing I read of yours was a story you did on the Minerva monster. Can you talk about what drew you to that story and why you wanted to cover it?
Yeah. Now, how I became aware of that, I'm not certain. But somewhere I had heard either that the repository or the Akron Beacon Journal back in the 70s had written about this Minerva monster, this Bigfoot type beast. I went through some newspaper files, what they call the morgue at the repository, the old clips that are all dusty. We're not talking about on digital film or anything like that. And I wanted to do the article. And one of the first people I reached out to was the Beacon Journal reporter. Her name kind of escapes me. Maybe
Barbara Galloway.
Yeah, that's who it was. I talked to her, and then I remember talking with Jim Shannon, I believe it is, James Shannon.
Yep.
He was a sheriff's deputy who handled those 1970 calls involving the Minerva area monster Bigfoot sightings, and I just became really kind of immersed in it. I did a really in-depth piece, and I reached out to the Caton family. I believe that's how you pronounce your last name, and they were very polite. I even drove out to their house, but at that point, before you approached them, you just weren't interested in revisiting that.
As a kid growing up in rural Ohio, I was pretty much unaware of Bigfoot at all. I don't remember my friends or I ever talking about the topic, and I certainly didn't know anyone who had claimed to actually encounter one. Despite that, I do remember kids in the town where I grew up saying, "Don't go in the woods after dark, or the Minerva monster will get you." Bolivar was just a 15-minute jaunt down the road from Minerva, and the fear was apparently still alive and well in the area, that the creature seen in 1978 would have made its way across the county to our woods. In 2014, with memories of those childhood warnings to avoid the forest after dark still ringing in my ears, I decided to make a documentary about the Minerva monster. Little did I know at that time that it would change the course of my life. The film was released in 2015 to some regional fanfare, and out of that I began the production company I now run called Small Town Monsters.
The Caton family, who were residents of Minerva, who lived just outside of town, started to experience things on their property. They would have rocks thrown towards their house from the wood line. They would start hearing things, and then they saw a 8-foot tall, hair-covered creature with red glowing eyes. The creature seemed to return on a regular basis. It sort of seemed like the creature's home was the woods behind where the Catons lived.
You know, we typically associate Bigfoot reports in very remote places, like way off the beaten path, Pacific Northwest. And the Minerva monster case is not that at all. You know, the Caton residence is just off of Route 30 and situated between Route 30 and a ridge line that runs behind the house.
This became more widespread and became a national news story and international news story that was the Minerva monster. And so people from the local area and people from far and wide came to the small village of Minerva to try and get a look for their own.
They were regretful that they had shared a report, that they had called the police, because, you know, when you see photographs of their property during that time where people were driving in, I mean, Route 30 and their own driveway was lined with cars, and people were just trespassing on their property. Some of them came armed.
Law enforcement being on the scene after an encounter that the Catons had with the Minerva monster. To my recollection, the law enforcement didn't see anything, but they did note like a smell in the area, and they certainly saw the Catons' reaction firsthand.
The Catons, when they did open up again, in part for the filming of Minerva Monster, they revealed that there had been ongoing activity, that it hadn't stopped in the 70s. There were other people in the surrounding area and sort of following the waterways both east and west that have reported act really right up to the present day.
Yeah, baby.
We're gonna go get the trail cams right now, and then we will be coming back here to check trail cam footage and see if there's anything on them. Again, we're not really anticipating footage of Bigfoot, but you never know, I guess. No activity last night though, so we'll see if we catch anything today. And we're also gonna go to the site where I saw something a couple weeks ago. We're gonna go back to that spot and see if we can find any tracks. The soil there was real soft, so seems like it would be a good spot.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah, bud. Yep.
Is there coyotes in the bathroom?
No. Removing the trail cam from the cabin site. Oh, immediately dropped it.
Tommy, Daddy just dropped the SD card. Oh boy.
We are at the sighting location again. Yesterday when we were here, we thought it would be a good spot to look for tracks because some of the ground is pretty wet. And we also have a trail camera down here, which we need to retrieve the card for. So here's the second camera. Gonna get the card from this. Probably gonna be some video evidence of the brush hogging. For a better reference, straight through there is where the other trail camera is. All right, we're in the area where we were smelling something last night that smelled bad.
I smell something.
Yeah, it's right here. You smell it over that way? See, I think it's up here in this. I don't see anything though. Do you smell it, Tommy?
Yeah.
What's it smell like? Smells gross? Yep. This is very soft soil. And this is the road.
Like the Bigfoot one over here.
Yep. Something's been going up and down this. Right here. I mean, this is a big path. And it's not like this is hard to follow. So what we're doing is we're walking right beside the pipeline. It's right through there. This would have been the area that what I saw went into. So what I saw would have come in that road right there on that next level up. And then, I don't know. All right, so this is a runoff. A lot of the water comes down this hill right here. Let's see if we'll find anything here. It's muddy, any tracks or anything. Oh, there's something. Looks like deer. Yeah, that's deer. I'm not seeing anything. Looks like a human foot or a Bigfoot. They're walking all the way down there. So this is a pretty intense area activity-wise when it comes to local wildlife. We had originally had a trail cam down in here for a short period of time. Moved it out to focus on the pipeline itself. Anything? All right. Well, let's head out and get that other trail cam SD card and check those. Nothing really up there. I still think this area probably has a lot of activity. There's some really dense forest here. There's water. Clearly a lot of animals moving through here. The only thing I'm wondering now is if they don't maybe move out of these farmland areas like we're in right now once the undergrowth and the leaf canopy starts to fall, because they're losing cover. We've definitely had far less activity, maybe no activity, compared to the other times we were here. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out next couple of days and start to form some sort of idea on maybe where they might go and start heading in that direction. I'm gonna take the cards back and examine the photos we got off these things. And then we'll decide whether or not we're gonna move them or leave them in the same spot. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, there he is. Ready? Tail's straight up in the air. We're gonna look right here. This is the back legs of the deer. Unless it stands up and starts going on two legs, and then it's a not deer. All right, so we were looking at, you mean like audio?
Audio-wise,
Okay,
yeah.
audio-wise. We had a bug fly right into the recorder.
Yeah, good.
No,
What about good stuff?
we've had knocks. The one was definitely clear, and we thought that was pretty exciting, but it's nothing compared to this knock.
Yeah.
So let's hit play. Right? Like, that doesn't sound like it's directly by the recorder or anything. It sounds like it's far away, but it sounds heavy.
One of the things we have been talking about most consistently in here is the fact that there is so many knocks, just the volume of them doesn't make a ton of sense. As in the number, not the actual volume of them.
Right.
I can't fathom what the point of it is. But what's interesting to me now is this has been a really quiet couple days in here. There hasn't been much of anything. In the 3 times we've been out here, you can do a knock and have a return almost every time, like when you first get in here, it seems like. This time around, we're not getting that. But apparently last night, once I left the recorder out, we were getting knocks in the woods. So tonight we're just going to kind of hang out, and I'll probably have cameras going occasionally, but it's not really like a big filming night. We're just having, Heather's kids are going to be here. Tommy's here already. So we'll have children here, and we'll see if it kicks off anything. It is supposed to rain tonight, though, so I don't know if that's going to affect stuff. But I
don't know, if they're like deer, they'll move more.
Yeah. We're still getting audio, so they're clearly here. So. We're going to go to the various trail camera locations, and then we're going to add the SD cards back, and then we are also going to visit the clearing where I have my sighting and walk that road a little ways to see where it goes. It's also starting to rain here. Should be fun. All right, we're gonna go into the Rougarou woods. Whoa, wait, we got eye shine right in front of us. Oh, we got something moving on our left. Yep, something just took off.
What took off to the left? What did it look like?
Small to the ground, I think.
Like a raccoon?
Would more than likely be a raccoon. On our right, I have no heat signature.
Now we know that there are raccoons here.
Yeah.
Because we've seen them party all over the...
Yeah.
Particularly of the obese variety.
So the thing about the cabin is there's maybe coyote using it to squat, like a whole bunch of them, because there's definitely a bunch of animals that have been hanging out in that cabin. So we're gonna go check it out.
Careful.
Trail cam number 2. You deleted all these.
Yeah. What'd you hear?
I don't know. I'm a little skittish back in here. So when we pulled in, I thought I saw a light, which would be on the hill behind the cabin. I just don't understand what I would have seen.
I don't know either. That's just a feel.
I have no idea. It looked like a small light down that hill. Okay. Ready to go.
Did the camera just take a picture of him?
Yeah, I did. That was the IR cam.
You guys didn't hear it?
No.
All right. Well, we'll go to the pipeline spot. So that was...
Is that the last one then?
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
This is the one we gotta move.
What are you thinking moving wise?
I don't know.
Do you want to put it in entirely different woods? Because we already have one edge of this covered. Do you want to go up to the road and have it facing the road?
It's still so quiet out to me compared to the other times we've been out.
Do you want to try to put one where it's facing a more open area, so there's at least one that's less likely to be triggered by trees moving?
Sure.
If you were to put it like maybe up there.
All right. No, I'm also kind of spooked when I've come into this spot now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we were out here with Ed last night, it was kind of freaking me out. Yeah. We are back at the location where I saw the Bigfoot, or what we think was a Bigfoot. We have to move a trail cam, so we're probably going to grab it here and move it to another location. Right, I'm going to take this up to the car real quick.
To where?
Up to the... That was me, I'm assuming.
What?
Didn't hear anything.
Okay, good. Okay.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go throw this in the gator.
Where are we taking it to?
Somewhere else. We're gonna go walk up there for now. Once I throw this in there.
You don't want to put the trail cam up there?
Facing the road? That's an option.
Where you saw Bigfoot?
You coming? I heard that. You hear that?
Uh-huh.
I heard a knock. Did you hear it? Seth?
No.
It's behind us.
Behind us?
Yep.
Did you hear it? Court?
Yeah.
How clear?
Pretty clear. It sounded like it was over there.
Alright, kill lights. Let's just chill at this spot for a while.
Alright.
Not do anything. And just kind of like wait for a little. Because what I heard that I asked if it was me was like the baby cry.
Really?
That you and I heard when we were down there by the trail cam. Do you remember that?
I remember hearing something that was high-pitched.
Yeah, and I don't know that this is on camera anywhere, but Heather and I were here with Tommy changing SD cards, and we heard a weird cry, like feline,
Yeah, it
sort
was
of
more cat-like. Like a big cat.
feline sort of sound. We drove around, Heather stayed in there. We thought maybe we could flush it, and never heard anything else. That's what I heard. I think, but I don't know. It's windy out too. So.
Which also coincided with the sound that I'd heard like a day or two before over by the cabin. Because I remember texting Seth and saying, I just feel like I just heard a big cat.
So, and for the record, typically we have infrared torches for these cameras that give us a much bigger range. We don't have those. Our range is probably like 15, 20 feet. I forgot the thermal imager in the car, or in the gator, which is 150, 200 yards away, up a hill. I think right now we're just, I would like to just chill here for a while. Not even, I might sit on the ground actually. Just keep those going in case something happens.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think there's anything up here, or is this just wind? I hear a lot of movement, but I feel like it's probably wind.
A lot of it's wind. What I have heard is very far away.
Is anyone else here? I really don't like being up here right now. You freaked out? Am I the only one who's freaked out?
I'm fine. Sorry.
I've always been fine.
You want me to hold the box while you tighten it?
I think it's going to be okay once I lock it.
All right, you got it set wherever it needs to be?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, it's on.
Oh, beautiful.
Because we can see it in this, which is wild. We can see it. There.
It's so windy out. I don't know if we've heard anything out here tonight that was like even worth worrying about. It's hard to say. I think we might call it even though it's kind of early. Unless you guys want to go do something else.
No, I've got to
Go back to the cabin and see what anything happens there.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that makes the most sense to me after this weekend is this road. Like I could have seen anything up here, and I don't think it would have been as big of a deal if this road wasn't here. But the fact that there's a pathway right here that we didn't even realize was here, it's like it's a little bit of like a piece of the puzzle, I think. So I think that's kind of cool. You guys aren't commenting. I don't know if you agree.
Yep.
I mean, you were here, Courtney.
Yeah, I saw it. It was about in this area. That makes sense.
It's just interesting.
The remainder of the night was quiet. As we left the cabin that day, I couldn't help but feel somewhat disappointed. Maybe I'd been spoiled by the activity we experienced the first weekend at the cabin. Had the creatures in the woods already left the area? I'd have a chance to find out just a few days later, as I was scheduled to return to the property with longtime friend and collaborator, Mark Matsky.
Matsky, Breedlove, oh gosh, zoomed. It's a Sasquatch reunion in Minerva. Wow. So, all right. Okay, we just got out to the cabin. We're gonna do a wood knock, just I guess to announce ourselves. Traditionally, if we do a knock and there's a response, it comes from that hill. See the tread?
Yeah.
Right up on that hill where that clearing, you see where it levels out right there? Yeah. I'll take you up there, that's a road. But I mean, this looked completely different. Mm-hmm. The brush was so high that you couldn't see this was a flat elevation. I thought it was running just across we didn't realize there was a road here.
Yeah.
I just think this time of year is, I don't know, you look through the woods and you can see, and that's the difference between right now and even the week we were out here when all that stuff happened, is you couldn't see up in the woods.
Yeah.
Everything was just dense. I feel like there just might not be much of a place for them to hide right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, let's see, it is, I guess you would say late October at this point. But it's a little different here in Ohio than a lot of places, because even though it's late October, the leaf canopy is still pretty, it's not all gone. There's still a decent amount of coverage. I think this weekend, one of the things I want to see is whether or not there's any activity out here with the coverage where it is. And we brought both recorders, so I plan on leaving those out tomorrow. It's supposed to rain all day, but I think we're going to try to hike into the woods some and see if we can explore the property on foot a little bit in some areas that we haven't been to yet. So that's our big plan for tomorrow. But the night's just getting started. I mean, it's only 7 o'clock here. What's your impression of the property so far, Mark?
Well, the first time I was here, it was just a little bit. I just saw a sliver of it, and now I have a little better sense of the scope of it. It's big. It reminds me in many ways of the Chestnut Ridge, just in terms of the basic terrain and the change in elevation from the ridge tops down to the creeks is pretty abrupt.
What's it look like to you?
Was it down by the water's edge?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah, I think fox is probably...
That's what I thought. I think we got a fox. Mark, what are we hearing?
Well, right now we're hearing kind of a hum sound that has... It's like almost a musical overtone to it. I'm not sure what it is. And this is after hearing some other creature in the woods across the pond that we think was a fox. But this is different. It's intermittent.
It's going on. It's so subtle you almost don't catch that it's happening, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not real overt or anything. I'm gonna move this. So I'm gonna film over there.
It's not a frog.
No, a little cold for
Yeah.
frogs at this point. There it is again, right? It is so subtle that I'd be surprised if the camera's picking it up. It's kind of like a musical, bassy hum that is, intermittent, that's coming from the pine hill across from the cabin where there's been a lot of different noise. Very unusual. That is weird. Mm-hmm. That's starting to creep me out. Do you want to walk down by the pond?
Yeah.
We're going to walk down in the direction of where we're hearing this. It's not that, right?
No.
That airplane?
No.
Okay. It's not that. There's an airplane, but there's a sound. To me, it sounds like it's coming from across the pond. Now there's something up behind the cabin. Like a whistle. Come here. Did you hear that, like, kind of up here? Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
Okay.
It's interesting that there would be something on either side.
That's how it is. Yeah. What time is it? Okay, there's that noise.
$8:50.
9 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's moving. There's definitely more sound in the woods right now, but there's also a ton of wind. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea how much of what we're hearing is wind and how much is activity. We're getting a sort of like high pitch, I don't even know what to call it, but it sounds like it's up behind the cabin. The hum across from the cabin is stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that sounds like tree knock or footfall right now is in question because of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely like a vocal happening out here, sort of distant.
Before the wind picked up, I thought, like up along the top of the ridge, I could hear like a whoop, 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 whoop.
Okay.
Like movement.
Mm-hmm.
But then that big gust.
There's a tree knock. Let's walk. Did you catch that? Mm-hmm. That's this way. That was a tree knock, and I would say that wasn't that far. I think if we walk down the trail a little, I would love it if stuff happened tonight. So we're walking down the path right now. It's quiet now, but I still kind of hear that weird high-pitched thing off to our right occasionally. Got anything?
I thought I heard something over there, but I don't know.
I'll tell you, it's hard to differentiate sound right now because of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're trying to hear. Oh, holy crap. There you go. Oh, holy. Oh, holy. That was either a nut or a rock. That's what happened to Heather and I that night out here. It might have been a nut. There's nuts all over here. Thinking it was a nut.
Yeah, that did not miss my head by much.
Really?
I felt it.
All right. I don't know. That could have been something. What is it?
They're all over the place. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I said. There's nuts there. Now tell me, because you're out here, this is your first time.
Yeah.
Does this seem like a little bit of like, I don't know, like just adrenaline and like, or does it seem like there's actual activity taking place right now to you?
Right now, I mean, I think certainly the chances of hearing stuff striking each other and dropping is increased by the wind.
Right.
But there's things about, I don't know, I think part of it is too, like, whatever just whizzed by my head
Right.
and landed on the path, you can't help but, that feels personal in a way. Like, like we haven't heard anything else drop.
Right.
This whole time we've been out here.
It went right past you.
Yeah. I mean, when that hit the ground, I thought it was a rock because of the weight of it. I mean, it just, I felt like it fell near my feet.
Yeah.
And it was heavy. But
well, the night,
I'm not falling from a...
I will tell you, the night Heather and I were out here and the rock fell, the rock throw. Mm-hmm. The rock was thrown, we think, from over here and hit the ground over here on this side. Mm-hmm. When it impacted, it was very different from that sound.
Okay.
As in, when it hit the ground, we think it was a good size rock.
Yeah, this seemed like it was about golf ball size.
Yeah.
Or smaller.
Yeah, what we had happen was a little different than that. You know, I guess we'd have to look up when nuts are falling. Are nuts falling now, or would they already be down? Well, there's one right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might solve that.
Yep.
I think it's just hard out here right now to tell what is actual sound and what might be any sort of activity because of the amount of wind. So we are in a part of the woods we haven't been into yet, which is, it's actually like the cabin is right down in this direction. We've walked through here one night, but we haven't gone up into the actual woods. And this is really dense too. It goes, there's a gravel road that cuts through it. There's a pipeline, but other than that, it's forest all the way. I don't know how far, like probably a really good distance. So this is actually the most dense section of the forest that I think is here. And we have heard a lot of noise over this direction. What I think, I don't know how true this is, I think they come from up in here. They're bedding down somewhere up in here, and then they follow this line, the ridge line up there, and that will take them all the way to the hill across from the cabin, which is they like to hide out there. It rained nonstop last night. This is the first time that the rain has let up, and apparently this is only going to be about an hour reprieve. We're taking advantage of it. But last night we there wasn't a lot going on. Mark and I heard a lot of noise early on. We did have what we think might have been a rock whiz past Mark's head. There was, just to preface this, there was an acorn tree nearby.
Well, my impression was that whatever whizzed by my head was about a golf ball size object, and it was traveling horizontally instead of vertically from, you know, just like it was not a straight drop. And that's just an impression based on the sound that I heard, and sort of then when it hit the ground, it seemed pretty heavy. Now, having said that, I mean, we have a buckeye tree outside of our house, and stuff falls off that all the time and makes a pretty loud sound. But this was, in the moment, it was pretty, you know, when something misses your head, you kind of take that personally.
You know, if you were trying to look for tracks out here, I don't think you'd find anything.
No, I don't think so. Not now, with all the roof cover.
So we're in a little valley. Up here is the Rougarou Woods. Over in that direction. And then we're down this incline on either side. Up there would be the field that has that entrance we drove into to get to the cabin yesterday. So, now I don't know where this ends up, but I would assume it's going to run into the pipeline that we drove to yesterday evening. We know they're here somewhere. I know they're here somewhere. So there's got to be a spot that they're bedding down. This time we're going to go hike up here, but there's other spots on the property where they could easily find shelter. The biggest one being this cave that apparently exists somewhere. It's not on this property. We have to get permission to go there. We'll go there in a future episode. So where I grew up, the woods were really similar to this. We got to the point as kids where we would have called it bushwhacking in the peninsula, but here, you know, I mean, we would just barrel through things with no concern about poison ivy or any of that stuff, you know, that you tend to worry about in Ohio. This is why I think this is a good spot. We're getting into thorns though here. But if we cross over, and we might go around, I'll tell you what, this is trampled down. All this leaf cover. It looks like it. Are you able to get around, or you want to go around?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go around.
Okay. I'm going to check this out while you're moving around.
Okay. Now, this is really weird because there's like a number of fallen trees all in one area.
Yeah. We also have this bend here. This section of the forest is definitely more wooded than the other areas we've been. A lot more wooded. There's far more canopy in here than there is in like the Rougarou Woods. I don't think they kept this up, whereas the Rougarou Woods, they actually chopped out a lot of the undergrowth. There's a barbed wire fence right there. You see that? We're coming upon the pipeline now, which I knew we'd hit that eventually. Let's see if we can get out of this forest onto the pipeline from over here. You're in Ohio, so anyone that doesn't know, Ohio is covered in these thorn bushes. And they're everywhere. Briars, whatever you want to call them. Here we call them thorn bushes. And they'll stick in your leg. It's not fun, but it's one of the hazards of traversing Ohio woods. Yeah, so we're on the pipeline now. So this is where we drove up to last night, which means the road is going to be right over here. Yeah. So we don't even really we'll walk up to the road. So we hit the end of this woods, but that woods will keep going.
These cut-throughs are ideal for all kinds of wildlife. Make an easy way through from one spot to another.
Is this common countrywide, or is this more like the Ohio thing?
I think it's common countrywide.
The trick I'm learning to these woods is trying to differentiate deer activity from like potential Bigfoot activity, because there are so many deer here. Last night, Mark and I saw at least, what do you think, like 5 or 6 deer?
Yeah, easily.
And they didn't run. We were out there on the gator. They kind of just stood their ground and watched us.
Yeah. 2 big bucks.
2 big bucks.
Like,
and then we saw some smaller ones. He saw some off in the distance at one point. All right. So we're coming out on the road here. Just for something to do, I'm gonna go into the pine forest across from the cabin, see if we can't find some tracks in there. Andy Matsky, Mark's son, came out for the day, so I'm gonna take him with me. Last night, where we're heading right now would be where that strange sort of bassy hum was coming from, which we're not sure what that was. We're gonna go over there and see if we can't find tracks. There was also a fox or something over there last night, which was kind of cool. Oh. That could almost be a keel. Oh. You guys see that? Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Keel, toes. Maybe. I think for me to find a Bigfoot track that I'm going to believe is a Bigfoot track, it's going to have to be like as clear as they get.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that we don't have on video is the first weekend we stayed here, Heather and I came across this dam or whatever, came up this hill, started walking up the hill toward the Rougarou Woods, and we were hearing knocks. Broad daylight, middle of the day, we were hearing strange noise. And there was a real loud crash, and all we saw was something fall out of a tree. And I took off running toward it, and when we got up there, there was a huge branch sticking out of the ground. So it was as if the branch had, I guess just at that moment, the branch had fallen. But one thing about the trees here, and this is not really super common with Bigfoot lore elsewhere in the States, is the Catons always talked about seeing them in trees. So whenever we're in here, we tend to like therm the trees and stuff as much as we do the ground, just to see if there's something going on up there. But that was one incident that was pretty weird, because there was noise, and then this huge branch just happened to fall out at the moment we entered these woods. And this is where a lot of the sounds that we've heard, knocks and things, come from these woods. Here you go. Is this anything?
I don't know. Just look here. It's almost like something.
Yeah, look at how big that is.
Yeah.
Do we got any toe or anything? Oh my gosh.
Looks like it could be a track.
That looks like toe. That looks like toes. Can you see that on camera?
There's this little thing up here.
I mean, that looks really dang clear.
Yeah. The big toe, like on the...
Yeah. I wonder if Heather's got any plaster or anything. Let me call her real quick. Hey, do you have any plaster of Paris or anything there? Okay. Because I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's in the woods across from the cabin. It also looks like a knuckle next to it. It's like it was going up the hill and slipped, put a knuckle down. Do you think you want to come out here and look at it with us? All right, we're in the woods across from the cabin up the hill, the pine woods. Okay, bye. It's not the clearest in the world, but
There really does seem to be separation between the toes.
yeah. I don't know how much I'm supposed to do things like this. Are you supposed to
Yeah, you should probably leave some.
We need to
that's
mark
not a
this
deer
somewhere.
track, is it?
No,
Because we saw a deer track down there.
for sure. And there's deer all over right here. We gotta mark this somehow. We need one of those forest flare flags.
exactly.
Why don't we have one when we need one? Sponsor us.
We're just look and tell me what you see.
So this is all one thing?
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, that looks like a heel.
Yeah.
That looks like your bend.
And then the toes.
Toes are in there, and there's a... Andy said it's in the needles, but when I'm looking right there, that looks like it goes into the ground.
Yeah.
And Mark thinks you can see pretty clear toe spread. Knuckle is to the right.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There is what looks like about a 16-inch track with what looks like toe spread, and then there's also what appears to be like a knuckle drag where it might have slipped or something and put its hand down. I was just looking for advice on what I should be doing.
Okay, it's super easy, but there's steps you need to do before you cast it too.
Okay.
You want a tape measure,
Yeah.
and basically you're gonna take a bunch of pictures of it, and then you're gonna draw some pictures of it, like the situation, then you're gonna cast it. Too much plaster is better than not enough. Try to capture like maybe an inch or so around the impression so we can get an idea of the substrate, see the differentiation depth.
All right.
And that's about it, man. Just make it thick and pour it in and
Okay.
wait around for 45 minutes.
All right. If I start panicking or something, I'll call you.
Yeah. If you need me at all, let me know. I've got my phone. All right?
All right. Thanks, man.
Sure. Good luck.
All right. Bye. So we're gonna go up to the woods over here and see if we can retrieve the cast, and hopefully it's in decent condition. There's our main hope at this point. So, whoa! You want to touch it? Someone tell me if they think it's. You can't, it's firm.
I still think you should do it more.
Why don't we start with a little guy? That was hard, guys. It was real hard. So this is the knuckle cast, or what we think might be a knuckle cast or a hand cast. It could also be a deer print. We're not entirely sure. That's why we're casting it. All right, this is our first, hopefully, intact track cast.
Dry it out.
That right there, that and that, to me looks like toe spread, but I can't. That to me looks like big toe, and the other four are clumped together. I don't know that we're gonna get a lot of definition on those.
We should let it stay in here in the warmth.
Alright.
And dry out.
Alright.
Get the knuckles in here too.
Yeah, get the knuckle.
It was in that direction, though.
What was in that direction?
The howls.
Yeah.
I came outside to pee. I was singing very loudly. And it was like, But there was a cow farm in that direction, so it could be cows.
Right.
So tonight we are doing something we haven't done yet. I got all four of you guys in the shot right now.
Look at that.
A miracle. Miracle framing. We have driven to the top of the hill, kind of behind the cabin, on the other side of the cabin with the on the other side of the hill with the abandoned cabin. So we're kind of between the two cabins. And I think we're just going to post up here for like an hour and see if we can get any idea of what's going on. If there's any vocals or wood knocks or anything.
Well known, but if you don't want to talk about that, that's fine. I don't care.
Hey, Andy, do you know anything about a stakeout? Have you seen the movie Stakeout?
No, I haven't.
Or the movie Another Stakeout? No. Starring Emilio Estevez? Have you seen those movies?
No.
It's all about quiet, just being real quiet and trying to catch Bigfoot. That's what those movies are about.
I'm sorry. I just thought I could take advantage of this time.
Stop moving. Football. We put the flare on an object that seemed to be upright and was moving slightly in the tree line ahead of us, and then we lost it. We should have been able to just zone back in on it if it was a tree, so I'm not sure what it was.
I'm not seeing what we saw.
You know, it's interesting. I feel like where I was looking is right straight ahead, which would be the entrance into the woods. You know, that path. If I didn't know better, I'd say there's something standing like 10 feet away from us. Did you throw that? They're in here. They're in here.
I heard them. There's something walking down there.
Yeah, they're in here. There's one to my left. This is what happens.
Was that clack you?
No.
You gave like the thuds though, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Something walked right up in front of me. That's why I did it. I thought I didn't know I was there or something.
Good grief.
In my opinion, if that was just deer down in here, they're not just gonna like quietly walk around, they're gonna bolt.
Yeah.
As close as we are. Whatever was here, like literally was walking up on me.
Mm-hmm.
Softly. Low. And that's why I did that, because it was freaking me out. I stopped like twice just to let her. When you're in the woods with someone, you're playing like hide and seek when you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone standing like 10, 12 feet away from you.
That was just a leaf.
Yeah. You can hear like the movement even if they're not moving.
Yeah.
We're at the cabin.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. I didn't realize we went that far. We'll probably only head back. We found nothing, but we did have audio of some sort captured. We had walking. I don't know if I could say bipedal. It was just footsteps.
Definite movement.
There was actual movement in the woods. Keep in mind there are what appear to be like thousands of deer here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was that. We were right behind the cabin without realizing it. No Bigfoot yet. Day 2, we had nothing I would quantify as Bigfoot activity.
Well, it has held with the pattern that I think we picked up on here, which is to say, stuff happens the first night that people are around, and then it levels off.
Yeah.
Almost instantly. I don't know, it seemed like if it would have been an ideal night for things to happen because we had rain all day, then it cleared out.
Yeah.
It was actually relatively still tonight, but it's been super quiet, like with the exception of the coyote pack.
Yeah.
We really didn't hear much of anything.
There was some activity over in the cabin woods, which I think is interesting. We don't know what was down there. Could have been deer for all I know, but it was strange. Kind of reminded me of what we heard here the night, and I thought things were about to pop off, and then nothing ever happened. So we completed 2 nights in our little corner of Minerva without a ton of activity, but we had a lot of fun. I think we experienced some strange stuff, and we found that track, so that alone is exciting enough. We're going to take a look at that in the morning, and hopefully we'll be able to see if there's anything to it, if it's a real cast or real track or not.
Before going to sleep, I sat out an audio recorder which captured a few bizarre sounds which may indicate we had visitors during the night. Between 1 and 2 a.m., we captured the same vague humming sound that Mark and I had heard across the pond the night before we found the footprint, as well as a loud rock smashing into the roof of the cabin. All of this was followed by the sound of footsteps crossing the lawn in front of the cabin, ascending the steps, and then crossing the porch.
Morning after. Last night, things happened right before bed. But other than that, it was a pretty quiet night. I stepped outside once and there was no noise or anything, but there was definitely activity out here last night. We're gonna go back to the house, Heather's house, and we're going to try to clean off the cast and see if we can see any more definition. Hopefully we see some toes or something like that. Another couple days at the cabin is done, and we're gonna go home, and then I think we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
And the biggest part of the impression is obviously here. Maybe this. I don't know.
But it doesn't, at least it doesn't look like a deer hoof, which was your concern.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like a knuckle, then this could potentially be like these fingers together. This one is a sort of
off to the side.
Yeah.
I would say more than anything, this might be a case where my lack of casting knowledge is the culprit, though, because like I think it was too thick. I think the mixture was too thick. To me, that still looks like a big toe,
right?
And then clumped together toes.
Yeah.
The the thicker part of the foot, heel and back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to wash it off somehow.
Yep. Is what we saw in the ground. I mean, it's a pretty good
approximation.
Yeah.
What bothers me is the heel was thinner. That's one of the reasons
it was like, I would say about to here, right?
Yeah, it's spread out over the back once we put the plaster in, and it doesn't give the impression of normal formed foot, normal shaped foot, like it did when you looked at it in the ground.
Right.
Because the heel narrowed.
Right.
It didn't do this broad. It didn't broaden out.
No.
Like
That
this.
was just the casting.
That's from the casting material. And I don't think any of us were like definitively stating, "Hey, that's going to be a Bigfoot cast." But the longer you looked at it, the more you can make out toe impressions. And then when Mark said that looks like it could be a knuckle cast, when you looked in, you could see the two.
It's a cool first track. I mean, first print.
Yeah.